Hello from Axiom Space Mission Control in Houston, Texas. I'm Sonia Gavan-Carmacay. Today is Flight Day 8, and this is our 6th mission update of the Axiom Mission 2 currently underway on the International Space Station. The Ax-2 crew successfully completed the last full day of science and outreach engagements. Today, Peggy executed another run of the Axiom Space Comm System Technology demonstration, testing communications with the ground team. She also performed space tissue and regeneration research in the Life Sciences glove box. John performed the final iteration of the MIT skin suit exercises and spoke with the MIT Media Lab. Rihanna had another day of operations supporting the RNA response payload and participated in the Biodata NIRS project. Finally, Ali worked with the Biodata ultrasound scan and supported odor visualization operations. Here we see a clip of Ali and Rihanna conducting a live STEAM event with the NanoRex space kite payload, as they demonstrated the aerodynamic behavior of the kite in microgravity. They shared this on-orbit experience with thousands of students on the ground as part of the Saudi Education Outreach Program. And here we see Peggy being interviewed on ABC News, where she explains that space is not just a destination, it's where she feels most at home. And then we have Rihanna taking a break from the Life Sciences glove box, enjoying a moment inside the Japanese module, also known as the GEM. And finally, the entire Ax-2 crew had a unique opportunity to conduct a live science briefing with the Axiom Space chief scientist, Dr. Lucy Lowe, and talk details about how some of the research and technology demonstrations they have participated in over the last several days. The results of the crew's research efforts have the potential to drive scientific breakthroughs back on Earth for the benefit of all humanity. And you can watch the entire Ax-2 onboard science briefing on our website at axiomspace.com. And now Dr. Lowe talks with Dr. Catriona Jameson from the Sanford Stem Cell Institute about the cancer in low Earth orbit research, a follow-on project from the science that was conducted during the AX-1 mission.
Hi, Dr. Jameson. Thank you so much for joining us today and to tell us about the cancer in low Earth orbit and some other projects that your team is doing on Ax-2. So what can you tell us about these projects, and what is it that we're learning about cancer and understanding the disease so that we can understand how we can treat patients here on Earth, for example?
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Lowe, and to your whole Axiom team for inviting us to join you and your team on the International Space Station for really a historic set of experiments here. Historic for many reasons, but particularly because we're testing how cancer clones itself and how space recapitulates aspects of severe stress on the ground. So, as you know, on Earth, we're, unfortunately exposed to life stressors as they come along. And that predisposes to activating cancer enzymes that mutate our stem cells. And those cells can give rise to cancer's capacity to clone itself. And so when cancer can clone itself and it doesn't stop, that's a big problem when it comes to drug resistance and recurrence of cancer, which is the #1 cause of death due to cancer. It's not the original diagnosis usually, it's when cancer comes back. So we're trying to understand how cancer comes back and stop it in its tracks. And we're using space as a unique environment to be able to do that.
Fantastic. So what kind of cancers are you actually studying on the Ax-2 mission? Because I know you did some research on Ax-1 as well. And I think this is a continuation of some of that research, right? So what are you doing on Ax-2, and how is that built on what happened on Ax-1?
Well, you're exactly right. It's built on what we did on Ax-1 last year in April with the Ax-1 mission. And basically what we're doing is we're repeating that experiment with these cancer cells that come from the colon. And that colon cancer organoid, as we call it, is a mini colon cancer in a bioreactor, seemed to triple in size in space in under 10 days. So we're looking to see if that happens again. As you know, in science, things have to be rigorous, reliable, and reproducible. So that's the 3 R's of research. And without that, we don't feel comfortable in terms of making conclusions. And so this set of experiments is allowing us to test that again. We're also testing to see if leukemia, these TF1A leukemic cells, also activate a cancer cloning gene called ADAR1. ADAR has been on our radar for a while. We discovered that That was activated in the last launch in leukemia, so we're testing that again. And then we're also studying a different kind of cancer, breast cancer. And as you know, breast cancer is diagnosed in 300,000 women in the US annually. And unfortunately, we have about 43,000 women that succumb to the disease annually in the US. So it's a big problem. So we're really trying to understand how cancer invades and spreads to other parts of the body by understanding how cancer puts on this capacity to clone itself, but also this cloaking shield, like a Klingon spaceship.
Oh,
And so we're
wow.
to understand if ADAR is the gene that does that. So we have that ADAR gene detectable through a green fluorescent protein, and we are testing that up on the International Space Station. So we are actually testing 3 cancers: colon cancer, breast cancer, and leukemia. And the reason we're able to do that is because of the adaptability of the crew on the International Space Station, their absolute expertise with Peggy Woodson as the commander, but also the scientist doing the experiments for us on the International Space Station, and then our team on the ground who are now at Leidos helping to image, and that's Jessica Pham, our mission specialist, leading the charge, and then Jane Isquith, who's been seminally involved. Janice Studemeyer from Axiom Space and Pinar seem to not need sleep. It's amazing. I don't know how they.
I think they're working on caffeine and adrenaline at this point.
They definitely have rocket fuel on board, but they're just incredibly capable and adept and very versatile, and not to mention very clever. And so it's a thrill to be able to work with them. And I'm so proud of the team in terms of being able to integrate activities and get real science happening. We're also trying to prevent cancer from cloning itself with 2 different drugs. Their names are fedratinib and rubexinib. And we think that those 2 drugs block that cancer cloning gene, ADAR1, again, the one that's on our radar, but in slightly different ways. So we're saying, which one is more potent in space, or do neither work in space? With space just being an accelerant for cancer. It's like the rocket fuel for cancer. It allows cancers to blast off. And so we're trying to see, can we slow it down? Or is it like a freight train where you can't stop it? And these are important things to know.
They are. And that's so exciting that you're able to really use what's happening in microgravity as a way to kind of accelerate some of these processes that can help us understand how cancers form and potentially even how you can treat them as well. So that's absolutely fascinating. So you mentioned that the team has been very, very busy with ops. They've been working around the clock. So have they been in the glove box? Have they been adding the drugs? How has that all been working out? Who's been instrumental in doing that? I know Peggy has been doing a lot of the work on orbit for you guys as well.
Yeah, no, we actually set up the experiments in what's called a nano bioreactor. It's actually a pediatric blood bag, as if you were getting a little bit of blood. But we took that blood bag and we put Surgifoam sponge inside, and we seeded the tumors onto that sponge, and they really like it. We have special media with a cocktail of growth factors in there. Jessica Pham, Larissa Belaine in the lab, Jane Isquith helped to put that together. And they set that up ahead of time. They add the drug ahead of time. So Pham, as our mission specialist, did that. Jane Isquith was there working on her birthday. Danielle Lewis, our communications director, was there to record history of the first time cancer will be treated in human cancers in space and in this 3-dimensional tumor organoid model. So that bioreactor is fairly resilient, but we still need to place it on the Keans microscope, which for some reason is called Kermit, and Kermit the Frog. And Peggy Whitson knows how to orient these things, get it into the right position so that we can operate the microscope down on the ground. And that's Leidos, again, with Pinar and Jessica Pham really saying, okay, go over here. And then I'm on every Zoom connection saying, Eeks, let's get back into the middle of this. That's where these cancer cells tend to hang out and clone themselves. So that's what we did this morning at 7:30 a.m. And we were going for quite a while because we had a little bit of loss of signal. But again, Dr. Whitson is so adept at getting things done that it all worked out beautifully with Jessica Pham and Pinar on the ground. So we're thrilled with that. Janice Studemeyer was also on the calls. We have a better sense of timing and just when we really need to move on, because we we can get stuck imaging and then go, uh-oh, we didn't do the control. So very exciting. We've done a number of imaging sessions. We'll do our last imaging session tomorrow morning at 1 a.m., which happens to be my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday for the final imaging session.
There you go. What a birthday present. So I think
what a great present.
Yeah, so we're thrilled to be able to do this and just get unique insights into cancer by having this uniquely stressful environment that microgravity gives us on the International Space Station. Really unique insights.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for telling us a bit about that and explaining that. Really, really exciting. Can't wait to see what happens with this research next. And we're, of course, delighted to have you partner with Axiom and doing some really significant, impactful science. So, Dr. Jameson, Kat, thank you so much for your time. Really looking forward to hearing about the research in future. Thanks again.
Tomorrow I'll get a chance to speak with Commander Michael Lopez Alegria about what this crew can expect as they embark on their return back to Earth. And as we look ahead, the crew will spend the majority of their time tomorrow packing the return cargo and preparing for undocking, which is currently scheduled for May 31st. Also tomorrow, the Increment 69 and Ax-2 crews will participate in a joint farewell ceremony scheduled for 10:50 Eastern to be aired live on axiomspace.com and NASA TV. And though our cruise time on orbit is coming to a close, there is still time for you to mark this historic journey by visiting merch.axiomspace.com and grabbing your piece of Ax-2 commemorative memorabilia, like this official space pen by Fisher Pen. For now, I'm Sonia Gavankar-McKay. This brings us to the end of Flight Day 8. We'll see you again tomorrow.